Hello, hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with Lady Rochelle, where we move away from awareness towards action. It is Motivational Monday. Our topic for today is Gone Too Soon. This show is actually being sponsored by Paula Kelly with Allstate. She's located at 327 East Glenwood Lansing Road in Glenwood, Illinois. She can be reached at 708-758-3300. You can also email her at paulakelly@allstate.com. She specializes in all of your insurance needs. You can also call in at 312-754-4333, and we would love to hear from you. You can follow me on all forms of social media. You can go to Instagram, Periscope, Twitter, as well as Facebook. Just type in at Warriors Talk with the number 1. You can also follow me on YouTube. Just type in Warriors Talk with Lady Rochelle. Again, today our show topic is Gone Too Soon, and we all can relate to someone we know that has been taken from our lives too soon. Our quote for today is, "The unreasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man." And that quote is by George Bernard Shaw. If you are tuned in on Facebook or any other social media outlets, can you please like and share this video? So hello to everybody that's tuning in. Again, we're talking about Gone Too Soon, and we all can relate to someone we know in our lives, whether they were young or old. We felt like that they were gone too soon. And today, the show is actually centered around, if you haven't heard already, if you have been watching the news and paying attention to what's going on, there was a shooting last Sunday on March the 31st. There was a shooting in LA. And there was 3 people that got hurt, but 1 person actually got killed. He was shot 6 times, 5 times in the torso and 1 time in the head. And it was said that the gunshot to the head is the one that ultimately took his life. So in case you don't know who I'm talking about, everybody probably knows him as Nipsey Hussle. So, hey Shirley, how you doing? I miss you too. Thank you for tuning in. Thank everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. Hey, Keita. Hey, Krista. Hey, Jasmine. Hi, Mylia. Hey, Renee. Hey, Mark. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please like and share the video for me. Again, we're talking about Gone Too Soon. And again, if you've been watching the news, then you know that Nipsey Hussle, who actually his real name is Emiris Ascadon is his name. So we know that he let us know that his father was actually born in an African country, and his mom was born here in the United States. So he has embraced his African roots, and so that's why his name is Emiris Ascadon. But we know him, his rapper name, as Nipsey Hussle. So when I heard about him getting shot last Sunday, I actually, it really just, I don't know why it bothered me so much. It just really disturbed me that somebody would actually take somebody's life. So the guy that shot him, allegedly shot him, Eric Holden. So we have to say allegedly because he hasn't been charged with anything, and he has been to court, but he actually pled not guilty. And we all know that he has this high-profile lawyer that was had a part in the OJ case. So everybody's kind of like a little nervous right now to try to figure out what's going on with this case and how he was able to afford a high-priced lawyer, right? Because supposedly he was a struggling rapper, and who knows where the money came from. So there's so many speculations going on with Nippy's case, so many different speculations that they want to say some type of conspiracy that, the government killed him, because he was doing a lot of things. Let's just say Nipsey was doing so many things. He was working on a documentary, with Dr. Sebi, talking about him curing people with AIDS and how he actually won his case in court. So he was working on that documentary to get it out to the world so that everybody can know what's going on, so we could be, as everybody would say, woke, right? So we all know what it feels like to lose somebody close to us that we love. And when we get up in the morning and we go to work or whatever, we're not leaving the house thinking that, oh, I'm going to die today, right? No, we're thinking that, okay, I'm going to come back to my loved ones, and sometimes we leave the house real quick and, it's just be like, okay, I'll be right back. And you don't know if you're going to be right back. And so that's what happened to Nipsey. He always helped the people in his neighborhood. He loved his community. So he went to go to his store. He actually owned a store. He was a businessman, so he went to go help someone who had just got out of jail to help him get started because he had an interview. And so, he had a bodyguard, but he left the house really quick and said, okay, this is going to be a quick trip. And he never made it back home. Never made it back home. And so when they actually had the shooting on YouTube, everybody video everything, but this time it was caught by the surveillance cameras. And thank God that there was surveillance cameras, because it showed you just how cruel the person was that killed him. The person was cruel. And when I think about him, I think about Nipsey, I think about him being a father. He had a 10-year-old, he had a 2-year-old. And I think about, Lauren London, the love of his life. And his mother, his parents are still living. I think about his grandmother is still living. She's 88 years old. So when he was 14, he talked about how he left his parents' house and he went to go live with his grandmother, and he dropped out of school when he was 16 because his mom said that he was very intelligent, that he realized his intellectual level at an early age. And I think he might have just got bored. So he's like, okay, I ain't gonna do this school thing. So he left school, and he said, he didn't leave school just to be out in the streets. He was actually in the studio making music the whole time. So just, think about you being a parent and you having to bury your child. And we know that seems to be the norm around here. That seems to be, a part of our culture, that parents are consistently burying their child, which should not be the norm. And so, you leave the house thinking that you're going to come back. So sometimes, we're always busy doing stuff, and we're not thinking that we're, something's going to happen to me when I go out. And I'm sure he did not think that way. So just some of the roles that he played. He was a rapper. We know that he was a known gang member. He was a Crip, and he said that you can never leave the gang. So once you join the gang, you're in it for life. He said what you can do is you can refocus your energy somewhere else. So they're going to always think of you as a part of that gang, but you just refocus your energy somewhere else versus, still out in the street gang banging and doing all the gang banging activities. Hey, Marianne, thanks for tuning in, you guys. I appreciate it. So, think of Nipsey, think of him as a father, a brother, a rapper, an artist. He actually did some acting. I looked, as I was researching, I looked into his background. He did 3 movies. I was really surprised because I didn't know that about him. He was a real estate investor. He was a mentor. He was a community activist. He was a lover. He was a friend. His community loved him. They loved him because he not only, he didn't live in the community anymore, but he had his business in the community. He brought the strip mall where he built his marathon store. And he had this strategy where, he had a good marketing strategy. So when he used to come out with mixtapes. So he was known as a rapper that does mixtapes. And mixtapes are done when people don't have an actual, they're not signed to, actual label. So they'll do mixtapes, and you could sell them mixtapes and make money just like you can if you had a signed label, right? And so he would sell mixtapes, and that's how everybody knew who he was. Well, he put out a mixtape, and he charged $100 for this mixtape. And Jay-Z ended up buying 100 copies of this mixtape, that he sold. And he only sold like a limited amount of them because, he wanted it to be like a, like a rare commodity. He didn't want everybody to be able to have it, only like a selected people who was able to, I guess, afford it. Or if you was a loyal fan and he told you what the price was and you knew, okay, it's coming out, it's going to be $100, I'm going to get it. So in his neighborhood, he actually joined the gang when he was little. It was called the Rolling 60s Neighborhood Gang. So he was a Crip. So Crips are blue and blood is red, right? So the little strip mall that he brought, they had not only the Marathon store where he sold his product, but he also had a store next to the Marathon store where he actually had items in there for when individuals got out of jail or they was getting ready to go on an interview, or they can come and get items at a reasonable price, and and not have to worry about, oh, I can't go get that job because I don't have the clothes, or I just got out of jail and I don't have no socks or no underwear. I don't have these things. So you can come there and get a kit. You could pay a small price for the kit and be able to still function throughout life. So he even hired in his store felons in his store, and they had a no gun policy. So a lot of people say, why didn't nobody have any guns? Why didn't nobody retaliate, when Nipsey got shot? Because in his store, it's all felons working in the store. We know felons are not supposed to have guns, right? So there was a no gun policy in the store. And so there was so when he got shot, nobody had any guns. And if they had any guns, then nobody used them, right? And so he purchased a lot of stuff in his neighborhood so that he can continue to give back to the community. He was big at heart when it came to doing stuff in the community, right? He actually set up this co-workers spot where anybody who was an entrepreneur can come there and set up their place and develop their products, and then they would have this showcase to where they would have to present their idea to Nipsey and his team, and then they would pick one entrepreneur to fund for that particular time. So he was really big on people taking their money and building their own wealth, building generational wealth versus just, always going to a 9-to-5 working for somebody. Everybody can't do that. Everybody's not born to do a 9-to-5. So he realized that because he wasn't. So he set up an opportunity to where they had this big old space. It was a old bread factory where they went in there and they built it so that people could come in and start up their companies and be able to have a safe place to just be creative. He also with his team, because he always recognized his team. Whenever somebody would say, oh, Nipsey, you did this, he said, no, it was a collective effort. It was a team effort. So him and his team put together this STEM program, and the STEM program centered around the youth. So the youth can come in and they can have, just another outlet where they can go other than schools. We know they don't get everything that they're supposed to get at school. So this is another boost for the kids to come, so for one, they can be off the streets and won't have to, worry about being in the gangs. When they get out of school, they can come there and spend some time there and then go home in the STEM program. So he did a lot of things in the community, and he was trying to help a lot of people. He was very vocal about just individuals investing in real estate and just taking your money and doing other things with it, just basically just blowing it off on clothes or jewelry or anything like that. So again, he was born here, but his father is from Africa and his mom is from here. And he talks about him being raised by his grandmother and how just having that connection with family, how when he went back to Africa at lunchtime, they shut everything down and everybody went home to eat with their families. Everybody actually went home to sit down and eat with their families, sit at the table to eat with their families. Here we probably don't do that because we're so busy. Or if we are with our families at the tables, guess what? We're on our phones. We're not even paying attention or having a conversation with our family. So he said it was a culture shock for him to go to Africa and see that, because over here in America, we don't do that. I'm not going to say we don't value, our personal time, our intimate time with our families, but I think we just have our priorities mixed up. So again, he does have 2 kids, a 10-year-old and a 2-year-old. And for those of us who are parents, and, we don't want to leave our kids when we're young. You don't want to leave a baby at the age of 2, and he had a boy that was 2 and a little girl that was 10. You don't want to leave your kids that young. You want to be able to, grow up with your kids and teach them all the things that you want them to learn so they can be equipped to go out into the world and be a functioning and productive adult, right? So just imagine how the 10-year-old felt, because she got a chance to know her daddy. She got a chance to spend some time with him. She got a chance to, know his personality, know what he's like. She got a chance to know, the presence of a father. She got to know that. The 2-year-old, he probably know, oh, that's daddy, but really didn't get a chance to, embrace who his father was. So, I really feel bad for the children, because in our culture, a lot of the dads are really not around. And then for someone to actually take his life, which had nothing to do with him, because whoever took his life, it was all whatever that was going on within that person. So So yeah, so he was 33 years old, you guys. He was young. He was only 33, but in his 33 years, he did so much. He did so many things in his 33 years that some of us may not ever get a chance to do. And somebody saw fit to take his life. And they said that a lot of people, it's a lot of speculation going on. They said it was jealousy. They said that the guy that shot him was an aspiring rapper, just like he was an aspiring rapper. And so some people say he felt like Nipsey owed him something because they all came up together, but it just so happened that Nipsey made it and he didn't. So some people were saying that the guy that shot him, Eric Holden, felt like Nipsey owed him something, and so they were saying that he was jealous. So like I said, it's a lot of speculation, and I'm waiting for the truth to really come out. And we may not ever know the truth, just like we don't know the truth about Tupac's murder. We don't know the truth about Biggie's murder. So, it may come out, it may not come out. But his legacy will forever live on because he has set himself up and set his family up for that generational wealth, owning that whole strip mall, having something in your name where you can take control, you can hire people, and you could determine what your wealth is going to be. So, and he had the potential. He had the potential to probably hit that billionaire status with the way that he was going. He was invested in cryptocurrency and everything. And when he did his latest deal that he did with his latest album that came out, which was called Victory Lap, which is so strange. His store is called the Marathon Store. And his last album that came out is called The Victory Lap, which is really strange because, he said he had been working up to this time to get, the right deal. And finally, he got the right deal with somebody. He didn't want to go in and sign and like be an artist, but he wanted to go in and partner with somebody. And so he actually was able to get his deal with Atlantic and be able to go in and partner with them so he could still, maintain full control over what he was doing and what he wanted to do. So it's so sad when we have individuals who are mentally unstable, in the mind, or that's harboring some type of jealousy or envy. And again, we don't know why he was killed. We don't know why. So I'm saying speculate. And the person that killed him is allegedly, because he hasn't been convicted yet. But there's so much mental illness that's going on in the world. Because when they found the guy that allegedly killed him, guess where he was? He was at a mental hospital getting ready to check himself in, and they caught him there. And my question is, why you didn't check yourself in before that? Why are you checking yourself in after everything happened? Why you didn't go check yourself in before if you knew you was having some type of issues? Now, if you was sane enough to go check yourself in after that, then you should have been sane enough to go check yourself in before any of that happened. And so why he was there, I don't know. Some people say it was a cover for him, and just in case he got caught to say, oh, so he can get off and say something was going on with him. But to know that he has this high profile lawyer and that he has the chance to get off with this case, if they let that man out of jail, he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. And it's sad because they lost their lives. When Nipsey got shot, they both lost their lives. He didn't know that him taking Nipsey's life, he was actually taking his own life at the same time. It's just that his death is going to be slower and Nipsey's was instant. So if any of you have saw the video when Nipsey getting shot, the guy shot him, right? So Nipsey's standing there talking to two other people, and you see the guy walking around, and he walks up and he shoots him. Nipsey goes down, and Nipsey lands on his chest, but then Nipsey turns around and Nipsey's on his back. And you can see Nipsey doing something, like you see him moving, he's doing something. And allegedly they said that Nipsey was like, oh, you shot me, you got me. Okay, I'm good. And they said then the guy came back. Now he shot him probably twice in the torso. They said that the guy came back and then he shot him again. And then he came back a third time and shot him again. So when he shot Nipsey the first time, his back was to him. So he shot Nipsey. He shot Nipsey in the head first, and then because Nipsey was laying down with his on his back, and he came back and shot him a couple more times, and then kicked him in the head. So that was just evil. That was hatred. When somebody does something, okay, you shoot him one time, like, oh, I'm gonna teach you a message, I'm gonna shoot you, and then I'm gone. Okay, I'm running, right? He ran off. Then he came back. And this is my speculation, my opinion. I believe he came back because Nipsey saw him and Nipsey knew who he was. And he said, oh, wait, if I leave him alive, I'm going to be dead. So I got to make sure that he is dead. Either that or there was a hit on him and he had to make sure he was dead or he was going to be dead when he came back if he wasn't dead. So much speculation, but a beautiful life was lost. A beautiful life was taken that was doing some amazing things, not just in his neighborhood, but some amazing things in the world that was touching so many people. He was connecting with so many different business people that was pouring into him and helping him to reach just millions of people to get their business started. We don't know what his potential could have been because he was taken too soon. And when we say too soon, that might have been his time. That might have been his time to go. That might have been God's time for him to go. But we say taken too soon because he was still young. He was only 33. But if you look at his life and you look at the amount of things that he did in the amount of time that he was here, you would say, wow, this looks like the life of somebody who's probably in their 80s because he did so much for not only himself, but for so many different people. And so if we can think about our own lives and think about, are we walking in our purpose? Are we doing what God put us here to do? And if not, why? What are we doing that's so important that we are not walking in our purpose? Do we even know what our purpose is? And if you don't know what it is, then you need to be trying to find out what it is. Nipsey knew what his purpose was, and he was operating within that purpose. We need to find out. If you don't know, find out what it is so that you can operate in your purpose. So if you do leave this earth, then you can leave fulfilled. You can leave empty, knowing that you fulfilled your purpose, knowing that you did exactly what God put you here to do. And so when we look at his life, his 33 years of him being here, we can look at it and we can say, okay, he did what he was supposed to do. He walked in his purpose. And even though his purpose looked different from us and looked different from Eric Holder's purpose, and maybe Eric Holder thought, that's where I should be walking. I should be doing all those things that Nipsey's doing. I should be right there with Nipsey. But we know, sometimes when you elevate, you can't take everybody with you. Everybody is not meant to go. Sometimes you have to shade people off because the bad energy that they bring around you. And when they said that Nipsey got into it with Eric, they said that Nipsey said he was a snitch. He was a known snitch. He was a known police informant. And Nipsey was like, we don't want that type of energy around here, man. You gotta go. You're a known informant. So no. And so who knows? I don't even know if we will ever know what happened and why this man would actually shoot him. Not once, not twice, but 6 times. And then to come back on 2 different occasions. He came back. He shot him and then came back 2 different times to make sure that he was dead. I mean, that to me seems like that's a cold-hearted person who doesn't care about life. And why is it? What got him to that place, first of all, that he would just take a life and not even care? Just be cold. Like so many hearts are so cold for some reason because a lot of people don't want to get help. They're self-medicating with drugs. They're self-medicating with alcohol. They're self-medicating with sex. There's so many things that they're self-medicating with that they are not getting the help that they need. So many people are mourning Nipsey right now. So many people, his death has hit a lot of people very hard. So I would ask that you pray for his family, pray for his Lauren London, pray for his kids, and pray that justice will be done. What we're going to do is we're going to take a break and we're going to listen to Corinne Hawthorne in Unstoppable. Okay, you guys, we're on break. Thank you guys. You guys can comment if you want to. You can comment. Hey, you guys, comment. Give me your opinion. I would like to know somebody else's opinion. you know, this, his murder was just, it took a toll on me. And I was just like, you know, just to see it, because I actually, don't ask me why I watched it, but I did. So, hold on, you guys. So I hope you guys can hear me. But I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why I wanted to watch it, but I did. And to see it and to see the actual guy, you know, go back. He went 3 times and shot this man to make sure he was dead. It just lets me know there's some cold people in the world that don't care about nobody. They don't care. They don't care. So let me know what your opinion is, if you even know about it, if you're just learning about it. Again, Nipsey Hussle, he got killed last Sunday at the age of 33. So it's sad. I love this song. It's unstoppable, you guys. Hold on. I'm gonna try to invite some more people in on this video. So let me know, you guys, what your thoughts are about this particular case. As I said, he has a high-profile lawyer that's supposed to be taking over this case for him, and a lot of people are like in shock, and they're wondering how he got this high-priced lawyer, and just interested to see the outcome of it. And I just know that if this man get out of jail, they're not gonna let this man live long. And I hate to say that, but I know that it's the truth. I know it's the truth. So again, let me know what your thoughts are. You know, it's not all about my opinion. I'm interested to see how anybody else feels about it. You may not even care about it, you know. But I thought about it because it's somebody's son, it's somebody's father, it's somebody's friend, and then his life was taken like he was just a dog in the street, like, you know. It was horrible. Really horrible, you guys. Okay. Hi, Nicole. So let me know what y'all opinion is about this, if you even have an opinion. So we're on break right now. We're taking a quick break. So give me a couple of minutes. All right, you guys, we're going to come back in a few minutes. Again, we're talking about Nipsey Hussle. Can y'all hear this song? Oh, wow. All right. And we are back. This is Lady Rochelle, Warriors Talk, where we move away from awareness towards action. And again, we are talking about gone too soon. We all can identify with someone we know in our life that we love that was actually taken from us, and we felt that they were taken too soon. And so we're talking about Nipsey Hussle. And for those of us who know who he is, he was a rapper, he was a father, he was a real estate investor, he was an actor, he was a community activist who cared about people. He cared about the people in his neighborhood in California, Los Angeles. He cared about these people, that he built a store there. He purchased a whole strip mall so that, you know, people can have jobs. And so they can have a place to hang out. He said when he was little and he used to hang out at that same strip mall, that he would always get put out. The owners would always be like, you know, you can't hang over here. Don't hang over here. Go away. And he said in the burger joint, the owner actually took the seats out of the burger joint because he did not want them hanging in the burger joint. So when he purchased it, he made sure that he purchased it and put the seats back in there. So he wanted to make sure that he had something for the people. And so that's why right now he is being celebrated If you watch the news and you see his story, you see all the people just lined up at his store, candles, balloons, just going by just to pay their respects. And so we can kind of identify if you have lost someone and you felt like they were gone too soon. We can kind of identify with how the individuals are feeling about their loved one and how you expect for somebody at the age of 33 to be here longer than the age of 33. Some people at the age of 33 are just getting started. Some people are, looking for jobs. Some people are, maybe just starting college. Some people are maybe just getting their first apartment, just getting their first car. Like at the age of 33, you can have that chance to where you're still young enough to start over, right? And at the age of 33, when you look at Nipsey life at the age of 33, you look at somebody, you would think he was probably well into his 60s with the amount of things that he had accomplished at such a young age. And if you ever heard him speak, then you would know that he was kind of different. Like he was, he was a smart person. But when you heard him speak, you would know that he's kind of different. Especially for his age, you would know that he's kind of different. But for him to be murdered out in the streets, and for the guy to come and to shoot him, and then to come back and shoot him again, then to come back and shoot him a third time to make sure that he finished the job, you know, it's really sad. It's just heartbreaking to see. And so many people were speculating about how come nobody helped. He had people, there with him, his so-called day ones. How come nobody pulled out guns? How come nobody, protected him? Where was his bodyguard? It's just so many speculations going on with it. But as I said earlier, at his store, the Marathon store where he hired felons, and the felons can't have guns. So they had a no gun policy to where there was no guns. So in that area, he was building a safe haven for people to come and hang out and just have a place where they can come and just relax and not have to worry about, the gangs coming or, getting into fights. Just a place where you can come and hang out and chill, get something to eat, and not have to worry about somebody kicking you off the property. So that's what he was creating, right there in his community. And for him to be, he grew up right in that area, right in that same strip mall, and to build his business, and then to be shot down and right in front of his store like a dog left to die. And then for the guy that allegedly shot him to try to check himself into a mental hospital and then to plead not guilty is just like a spit in the face, right? It's like a spit in the face. And you think about Nipsey's life and all he's done, but then there's this other person that took his life, and it's like you can't forget about this person. He's still a person. He's still somebody's son. He's probably somebody's brother. He could be somebody's father. And so when you think about that, it's hard to try to feel sorry for him when he took somebody else's life. But then his parents are grieving too, because he signed his own death certificate. When he killed Nipsey, he killed himself. And I that's just my opinion. Though, and he didn't know that his death was linked to Nipsey's. Like, he didn't know that. Had he knew that, he probably wouldn't have pulled the trigger 6 times on him. So when I saw the story, like I said, it just kind of like, it didn't sit right in my spirit. I'm like, wow. And I didn't know Nipsey. I didn't know him. And I didn't even listen to his music. He does rap music, and his lyrics are, a little ratchet. But, he was nominated for a Grammy this year. He was nominated for Best Rap Album of the Year. So he was a talented brother that I feel that was gone too soon, whether it was his time or not. I feel like he still had a lot of living to do. He still had a lot of things that he could have been doing. But if you look at his life and you look at the things that he was doing, and you know that he was operating within his purpose, then he fulfilled his purpose while he was here. We don't know how long. We don't know how long we have. We just pray that God allow us to be here for a long time to see our kids grow up, to see our grandkids grow up, and be a ripe old age to where, we'd be like, I'm ready to go, so we don't know. We don't know. And so moving forward, just I pray that the family is able to have a chance to be able to grieve properly and not, be overwhelmed with the trial because the guy goes to court. Eric Holden goes to court May 10th. So May 10th is when that trial, he goes back to court when the trial starts. And so I could just imagine once they bury Nipsey, which they're gonna have a memorial service at the Staples Center in California on Thursday for Nipsey. So once they bury him, then they're gonna have to go through the trial. And so it's just gonna be like going through it all over again after they bury him, which is it's a sad situation. But like I said, Nipsey was an amazing man who had an amazing way of doing things. And so he mentioned 10 business, his top 10 business rules for success. And so all his life is not going to be in vain because he was murdered. It's not going to tarnish his legacy. He's still going to be able to leave a great legacy. If you can see from everything that's going on, there's so many good things that are being said about him. And so he was a true businessman. So here are his top 10 business rules for anybody who want to be successful in business. So the first one, he says, you have to get rid of doubt. And all of us have it. All of us, when we're trying to do something new, we all can come up with a million things in our head to why we shouldn't do it, or, to doubt ourselves and then just cancel the whole idea. But he said, get rid of the doubt and have a step-by-step plan and a list of how you're going to get to your goal. So the first thing you need to do to be successful at a business is to get rid of the doubt. And then the second thing is don't alienate your brand. So you ain't got to just do one thing when it comes to your brand. No. If you're creative and you can create other things to attach along with that, then do that. Don't just be, just one thing. Oh, I'm just going to sell t-shirts and that's it. No. Be creative and do something else. Number 3 says to seek leverage, meaning be creative in your work. Try to make it so that when that person wants something, they have to come to you for that because you have the up on that and nobody else is doing it the way that you're doing it. Number 4 says to seek respect. It's your product, it's your brand, so you have to make sure that people respect it. Just like I told you, he charged the $100 for the album that he came out with, and people respected that. Although they was like, "What? Why are we paying $100 for this? We could download this off iTunes and get it for free," But his thing was, you have that actual copy in your hand. So yeah, they could download the music off iTunes, but they won't have that actual hard copy in their hands, which costs $100. And Jay-Z brought 100 of them for $100, wired him the money. So you have people, somebody like Jay-Z who's a billionaire, respect his product. Jay-Z was probably like, really? He got that out for $100. I can sell mine for $100, But Jay-Z was like, that's a smart businessman, I appreciate that. And so he ended up buying 100 of them. And number 5 says, be proud of what you do. Be proud of what you do. So whatever it is that you do, be proud of it. Don't let anybody look down their nose on you because, oh, all I do is I'm a caregiver. That's all I do, girl. It ain't nothing special. Well, it may be something special to the person that you're caring for. So don't let anybody tell you that what you're doing is not good enough and then you're not, because you're not making $1 million doing it, that, you're not doing anything. Because people would love to look down their nose at what other people doing when they're not doing nothing. He says, number 6 says, live your dream. Whatever it is that you want to do, live your dream. Take a chance and go out and just step out. Just take a risk. Just do it one time and see how far you'll get. Like, I could think of, who is this? Will Smith. Will Smith always, he has this bucket list thing to where he's doing all these things on his bucket list, right? And I know when I talk to, who is it? Lisa Adams always talk about life list, not bucket list. We're talking about the life list. What are you going to do while you're living? Not talking about what you're going to do before you die, but talk about what you're going to do while you're living. And so he has his bucket list of where he's doing all these things that are on his bucket list. And the things that are on his bucket list is actually like taking him outside of his comfort zone, and it's causing him to stretch himself and to take a risk. And a lot of times we don't like to do that. We don't like to take a risk. We don't like to stretch ourselves. We don't like to be uncomfortable. We like to just sit in our little cocoon and just be safe and never come out because we're scared of failing. We're scared that it may not work. You may fail a lot. You may, but there may be a time where you actually succeed. Take Nipsey, for example. He was doing his mixtapes and he was trying to get a deal. And so many people didn't want to give him what he wanted. They didn't want to give him, he wanted the partnership, which he actually ended up getting with Atlantic with his Victory Lap album. But before he wasn't getting it with the other record executives. They didn't want to give him no partnership. They wanted to be able to give him a check as an artist. And he said, no, I'm the executive representing the artist, even though he was the artist. But he wanted to be a partnership. They didn't want that. So some people you may have to sometimes just push harder for your dream because it's your dream. And if it's your dream, a lot of people may not buy into it, but the right people will. He says seize opportunities. So there are opportunities that may come your way that may seem strange, and you may be like, "Oh, I ain't gonna do that. Oh, that don't even. No, I ain't gonna do that. They ain't gonna coincide with what I'm doing." But it may be just the thing that you need to get you over the top. So sometimes you have to do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do. And I'm not talking about like breaking a law or anything like that, but I'm saying something that would maybe take your business to the next level. And then he says, don't listen to the little man. Don't listen to the little man that be in your ear telling you, oh, you can't do this and you can't do that. Sometimes you have to psych yourself out. Sometimes you have to give your own self a pep talk and say, I can do this, and then go and do that very thing. He says, number 9 says to keep evolving, keep learning, keep challenging yourself, take classes, go to seminars, do workshops, get with some like-minded people who are, who have already made it, they're already where you want to be. And so you can see, the patterns of what they did, and then you can, follow in their footsteps, but do your own thing. Sometimes we don't like to share our secrets on what we did. We like to keep it to ourselves so we could be the only one in that category. So that's not right. Nipsey thing was giving back to the community, educating the community so that everybody around him would be doing good, not just him. Number 10 says, be loyal. Be loyal to yourself, to your dream, to what you're doing. Be loyal to that. A lot of times we're here, we have our hands in so many different pots, and then we wonder why stuff is not working, because you are jack of all trades but master of none. So, but he did say you don't have to alienate your brand, but you have to be able to narrow down what it is that you want to do so that you can succeed. So I just gave you Nipsey's Hussle's top 10 rules for a successful business. So you guys are not, I wanted to see, did anybody have any opinion on the murder case or anything that was going on with the case? These are just my opinions, and this is my way of paying a tribute to Nipsey and his legacy, and that it's going to live on forever and ever. And that just because someone decided to take a gun and take his life, it doesn't stop his legacy from living on. And so we're going to have challenges in life to where our backs are gonna be against the wall, like Nipsey was when he got shot. I mean, if you could have saw him, and it's so weird because it's like, who wants to watch somebody die, right? If you could have saw him laying, and when he got shot and he dropped to the ground, when he was laying there, he was moving, like doing stuff. And I was glad that they said his brother ended up calling his brother, and his brother ended up coming up there. His brother was there with him, holding him, so he had somebody there with him, so he wasn't by himself. He didn't die on the cold ground by himself in the pool of blood. His brother was there holding him in his arms, and comforting him, until they took him away. And his brother said when they took him away, the paramedics were talking about, how they respected him and they knew who he was and they were going to do everything that they can. And so moving forward, he's not here, but his family is still here, and they're going to need all the love, all the prayers that they can get, especially raising the kids and their father is not here. Just having to tell the 10-year-old, his daughter, that daddy got shot, and nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. And so I just want to go back to the person that took his life, Eric Holden, allegedly shot him, because he hasn't been charged yet, so we have to say allegedly. What was going on in his mind? What was not right in his mind that he would just make a decision just to take somebody out in cold blood? Like, how do you get to that point to where you say, I don't care about somebody and I'm gonna just take them out and not shoot them and make them suffer, but take them out, totally out, not think about his loved ones or his family that are still here. Not even think about your own life, thinking if I get caught, nine times out of 10, if I get caught, I'm going to go to jail for life, or somebody is going to kill me. And so you have to pray for Eric Holden too. Although he took somebody's life, his life is in danger. His life is in danger. So pray for him as well, and pray for his family that justice will be served. Whatever that justice is, that God would allow justice to be served, and that Nipsey's legacy will just continue to go on and grow in at the way that he wanted it to grow, because he set things up in place for it to do that. And so keep his family in your prayers. Pray for your own family, because we don't know what's going on with individuals in their mind to where they would want to take another person's life. So keep your own family in your prayers. When they go out of the house in the morning, pray for them. Anoint their head with oil. I just pray that, I thought about Nipsey when he was laying there, because I don't know. He never expressed what religion he was. He never, I would hear him talk about God, but he never, he never said, oh, I go to church, or, anything like that. He never mentioned that. So, I would just hope that he had a moment to where, he was able to ask God to forgive him for his sins and accept him as his savior. So I just pray that he had that moment, that he could have done that while he was laying on that ground when that man shot him 6 times. 6 times. So you just don't know. You don't know. So you have to stay prayed up. So I hope he had a moment to where he was able to do that, and that, his soul would rest in eternity with Jesus. So just pray that he had a chance to do that, and pray for his family, that, his family would be able to get through, the murder of their loved one, and to get through the trial that's getting ready to come up. So I'm going to read this last quote that Nipsey, that he said about, being walking in his purpose. Like I said, a lot of us are not walking in our purpose right now. A lot of us are wasting a lot of time, and we don't know. We all have a set date, a set time to where, we have to go. Maybe not like Nipsey, but we have a time. So Nipsey said, I feel good about what I'm waking up and doing, and about my lifestyle. At one point, I wasn't proud about my lifestyle. Now I wake up with the feeling that I'm going in the right direction for what I'm here for, like what I'm on this planet for. I'm doing it. Bigger than just LA, bigger than some gang banging, bigger than some street, bigger than some human stuff. I'm doing what I'm here to do. So he knew that he was doing what he was supposed to be doing. And that is an amazing feeling, that you are walking in your purpose. And so we can take anything away from Nipsey in his life. And it would be to, search for your purpose and find out what that is, and be able to walk in your purpose so that you can fulfill your God-ordained destiny here on life. And then the main thing is to make sure that you accept Jesus as your personal savior. So when you do leave here, that you know that you would not only be at peace, but you will live in eternity with him. So I appreciate you guys for watching and tuning in. I just wanted to make sure that I pay tribute to Nipsey and the life that he lived and the legacy that he is leaving, which is an amazing legacy. I encourage you, if some of you may not even care, but I encourage you to maybe look him up and see the things that he was doing in his community to bring his community together, not only the community, but the gang culture. He was going to meet with the LAPD to try to figure out how, they can bring some type of unity in the community to eliminate some of the violence that was taking place with the gangs. And so he even did a song with one of the Bloods. They were able to come together, to do a song and put aside, all of the violence. And so we can take a page out of his book and be able to befriend our enemy, because he was able to do that. He was able to befriend his enemy and be able to have something good come out of that relationship. And he was walking in his purpose. So I encourage you to walk in your purpose and make sure that you accept Jesus as your personal Savior. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you for taking the time out to listen to this amazing man's story. And I'll leave you with this. Live full of your accomplishments and die empty of your God-given potentials. Release your greatness now. So thank you for tuning in, warriors. Keep thriving while surviving. Lord, we need a resurrection, Lord. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed. I know it's not like the normal show that I do, but it was just pressing on my spirit to, to say something and to just, honor his legacy. And we might not have agreed with everything that he was doing, but he's done some amazing things for the community. Helping felons when they get out of jail, and helping the youth with the STEM program, and helping entrepreneurs with his co-working space for them to expand their products. So for that, he's to be commended. So I thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.